Hi, everybody. Joe with Bob Sturgis today with a seat at the table.org. Today's spotlight interview. We're in St. Louis, Missouri, so I think you're going to like this a lot. Bob, a seat at the table.org. What's that about?
Well, it's an organization. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and it's based on about 20 years of my wife Chrissy and I already have taken in and inviting in 5 young guys over a 20-year period to live with our 4 sons.
Okay.
And because we had just in youth ministry and other means, we had run across young people, phenomenally resilient young people, but from very unstable homes sometimes.
Okay.
And so for their ability to transition well out of maybe a youth group, church youth group, or some other nonprofit up, they typically all work with kids up to age 18, but then after 18, there's not much. And those young people are either expected in their sometimes rather unstable homes to be the man or woman of the house or get out of the house. And that does not make for a winning combination.
No.
So we decided to recruit other house parents to be that as well ourselves and invite up to 4 young people to live with us here in our Shaw neighborhood home. We have another set of house parents up in Ferguson who can take up to 4 young women.
So 2 locations.
2 locations in terms of those kind of house, but also we're recruiting house parents to take in just 1 at a time into their existing homes.
Okay.
And we'll resource them so they're not doing it all out of their own budget.
So you're mentoring and how to life skills and just how to Yeah.
And it's not meant that we are perfect parents by any means, but at least we want to show what a 2 family, a mother and a father, married for a sustained amount of time, what that can look like. Because most of these young people have not experienced that.
Right. You can talk about it all day. So you're living it.
Yeah, trying to.
My gosh.
Yeah.
So now how many?
We have 4 here in our Shaw neighborhood home. Chrissy and I are up here on the 2nd floor. You guys live on the 1st floor. And it's a combination of letting them be independent adults and grow to be independent adults, but also like we have Sunday and Wednesday family meals together.
Okay.
Again, something that not a lot of them get to experience.
Right.
Because we call it almost in survival mode. In that age group, they're typically out trying to work a job or 2. They may or may not be in school. And so we're trying to put those educational, vocational, job skill, life skill, counseling, and spiritual development resources around them that they probably wouldn't have necessarily on their own. And we only do this, though, through the support of a lot of donors and supporters who likewise believe in this concept and help resource us.
And it's all wrapped in love, right?
It is, and in Jesus. It is a faith-based organization. Not that we require that out of our young people, but it is who we are, and we do this because we were first loved, we think, and we want to pass that along.
So it's kind of like a ministry type thing.
It is exactly that. And again, the gift we were given, some people are given finances and they grow up really can help enable other people financially. We were given great role models in our families of origin. So that's the one thing we think, Chrissy and I, we are called to then pass along to somebody else. So again, not perfect families, but loving families, people who wanted to pour into each other, who kept track of each other, who checked in the mornings and the evenings and had dinner together. Much of what we learned in life, while we're both fairly well educated, was around a family dinner table.
Yes.
And we want them to experience that as well.
Wow. So much happens around food.
Well, it's one of the reasons we call it a seat at the table.
And in St. Louis, we have a lot of food. Right?
We do.
So a lot of your day, not only a lot of your day, but you're behind the scenes probably fundraising and working with partners.
And also mentoring and literally teaching young people how to cook, to drive, to manage a budget, to understand what a credit score is, to eventually qualify, for instance, for their own apartment when they move out.
Yes. Tell about that. Didn't some person just...
We did. Our first... so while Chrissy and I have been doing this unofficially for 20 years, we've really only been a non-profit organization for about 3 years.
Okay.
So we just had our first graduate, so to speak, who reached the age of 25. We've taught him everything we could in that brief 2.5 years that he was here. And literally, the young man, fortunately for us, here in the Shaw neighborhood, his first apartment is 1 block away. And so he'll still be, as we hope with all of our graduates, still be very much a part of this and come back and mentor as well.
Wow. Yeah. So he's been through the program.
He has. And so
that leaves a spot open for the next person.
Who just moved in this past Saturday.
Unbelievable.
So,
unbelievable.
Yeah, so.
Oh my gosh. So we kind of talked off camera about, plans, like it was always your plans, but you mentioned something about Cincinnati or something?
Well, Chrissy and I, as part of my work here for a corporation, spent 11 years in Cincinnati
Okay.
at a church family that was phenomenal. That was a very multicultural, multi-generational church. And we've just decided there's a lot of folks who watched us do that, even as we moved back.
Mm-hmm.
One of the benefits of social media, though, even we moved back now 23 years ago from 11 years in Cincinnati, they're still part of our family. They can see through Facebook and other means what we're doing, and a lot of them have the same like-minded heart. So I was just up there in August recruiting and asking others to be on the lookout for potential host parents. We probably won't buy properties out of town because managing properties is time-consuming, especially for me. But we could resource and put one at a time to like-minded people who have a gift of hospitality who just will open up a room for somebody else.
Is this what's your bigger, broader goal?
Literally have chapters of the seat at the table in every major metro around the country.
That's a challenge, folks. Yeah. And if you're watching this video from outside of St. Louis and you think this might be something you'd like to get involved with or something in your community, we'll put Bob's contact information and how to get a hold of him. And very exciting, very exciting.
It's a calling for us. And again, we were gifted with it. We want to pass it along. Family is something these kids, intact, whole family, is something a lot of them haven't experienced. So we want them to go out and break a cycle of poverty, family dysfunction. A lot of them even experience trauma. These young people, we believe, are cycle breakers.
We're coming out of a couple years of tough times for the world, right? And, the pandemic and everything. And, to share some good news for a change. So good news here, happening in changing people's lives, but success too. Person graduate, that's huge. Takes people one at a time, right?
Yeah. So we watched it happen for 20 years unofficially before we started the nonprofit. And the added benefit there, it wasn't just the young people who came into our home who benefited. Our 4 sons, Chrissy and I we grew. And I would submit the worldview of our 4 sons is drastically different than a lot of their peers, and better.
And they're going to go out and be better people.
And we couldn't have done what we did were it not for the heart of even our 4 sons who shared their bedrooms for 20 years, who shared their parents' time, who shared the resources. So they understood the world they didn't grow up with thinking the world revolved around them. And I would tell you, as a parent, you'll appreciate that when your kid feels the same way.
I'm getting chills as you're talking because I'm a parent. And grown kids and grandkids, and it's so needed and passing it on.
Yeah.
Bob,
wow,
thanks for your time today.
Thank you.